Oh, wow. Okay, we're gonna have to restart the podcast because apparently I was muted. So, way to go, Kenny. Way to understand technology. Why do you look like you came straight out of Lord of the Rings? Most people think I'm a dwarf, actually. In case you're wondering, I am 5'10". I am not. I am not a dwarf. So now that we're unmuted, we're gonna restart the podcast because, good lord. All right, three, two, one. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Elite Development Podcast, the number one show for athletes looking to gain an edge on their opponents and build their dream careers in sport. I am your host, Kenny Dusseault, and today we are talking about making up for missed training days. So we're talking about this today because I just had a conversation with an athlete of mine about 20 or 30 minutes before I jumped on the stream here. And basically, he was saying that, he's been sick for like the last week. He has a fight in like 5 or 6 weeks and like wasn't really able to train much in that last week. So he's like, man, like, should I do more to like make up for the time that I was away, or should it just be business as usual? And the reason I wanted to make a podcast out of this is because this is a conversation that I've had many times before with athletes of mine, but also athletes, just out there as well that ask me questions. And the truth is, guys, no, you should not try to make up for training days that you miss. And the reason for that is because we need to make sure that we're focused on the right areas. We need to make sure that we're focused on you being ready to go when you fight. Now, there's no magical number of like, if you hit 100 hours of training in your camp, you will be ready to fight, like a lot of people think there are. Like I speak to a lot of athletes who think they can't fight unless they've trained twice a day, every day for 6 weeks beforehand. And that's just not the case. Because, and let me preface this first because I know I'm going to get one or two comments about this, but when I talk about this, this is not me saying that you don't need to train a lot. This is not me saying you don't need to push hard. This is not me saying that hard work is bad or any kind of other garbage that I've heard people tell me that they think I say. But when it comes to properly preparing yourself for competition, there's no magical number of hours. What you need the strongest, fastest, most explosive, best conditioned version of you with the highest level skill set possible on the night of the fight. Does that mean you're going to have to train hard? Yes. Does that mean that you have to hit X amount of hours? Absolutely not. So when it comes to something like this athlete of mine telling me of, being sick and then coming back from that and how to handle it, the one and only thing you need to be thinking is, how do I put my best foot forward on the night of the fight? So in this specific example, right? If you're sick, your body's going through a lot, you're not going to be at 100%. You're not going to feel super healthy maybe that first day or two as you come back. So if you take the attitude of, I've got to do twice as much work because I just missed time, what happens? You're trying to do twice as much work on a less healthy body, which then is going to burn you out that much more. And in turn is going to cause your body to burn out more, which is going to cause a less than optimal version of you to be stepping into the fight on the night that it actually matters. You get what I'm saying? So if your body's beat up and you beat it up more because you're trying to make up for the training you missed while your body was under the weather, you're going to beat your body up more and you're not going to be at your best when the night of the fight comes around. So instead, the tactic that you want to take in a situation like that is you want to focus on keeping yourself healthy for the night of the fight. You want to meet your body where it's at. Your first day back, keep it light. Why do you want to keep it light? Because you don't want to overwork your body to the point of exhaustion and have you not be able to train properly for the next 3 or 4 days. So you keep it light. You keep focused on doing what you're able to do and building it consistently over the time that you have. If your focus is just, how much can I put in the little amount of time I have, you're going to beat yourself up and be less than at your best when it comes to the actual day that matters. Another place where I see this happen a lot with athletes is taking short notice fights. Somebody will take a fight 3 weeks out and they'll be like, well, I got to train 4 times a day because, I didn't have my whole camp. So I got to do so much more in such a limited amount of time. But guys, if you are at any kind of decent level, you've got to remember something. You already know how to fight. Does that mean that you shouldn't train beforehand? Of course not. You absolutely should be training before regardless. But you've got to understand that you already know how to fight. And you putting in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day of training for those 2, 3 weeks that you have isn't going to just magically make you better. It's going to burn the fuck out of your body. And if it burns the fuck out of your body, cool. You've got all these extra hours in. But if you're not able to perform on the night that it matters, all those extra hours don't mean shit. I remember hearing an interview from Michael Bisping, and this was years ago. I would try to find it again, but I'm not confident that I'd be able to. But he talked about the fight he had where he won the world title. I believe it was on 12 or 13 days notice. And he said something in this interview that really stuck out to me. He said that this was one of the first times where he came into a fight not feeling overtrained because he didn't have enough time to overtrain himself. And he said as a result, he actually felt awesome coming in on 12 days or whatever the actual notice was. I can't remember because he didn't have time to overtrain himself. Right. So now, if you could take that same mentality, that same attitude, that same approach to each and every fight that you have, and remember that your goal is not to do the most work, your goal is to be prepared on the night. Right. So if you can take that same attitude of not overtraining yourself to actually feel good on the night, now you're going to put a stronger, faster, more explosive, better conditioned version of yourself into the ring or into the cage every single time you compete. And isn't that what you're after? So coming back to the original title and the point of this podcast, making up for missed days. So if you take a short notice fight, you have 2 weeks to train. Make sure that you're in shape or as in shape as you can be, and make sure that your skills are sharp. You don't need to fit a whole training camp into 2 weeks. And the same kind of idea, if you're coming into a fight and you're sick for a week and you're not able to train, don't think, what can I do to make up for the time I missed? Think, what can I do to make sure that I'm at my strongest, fastest, most explosive, best condition, and highest skill set on the night of the fight? And sometimes that's going to mean a couple of extra sessions. If you feel like there's an area that's lacking, work on it. Other times, that's going to mean making sure that you're doing a little bit more recovery work. You're taking a little bit more time to take care of your body and just manage how you're feeling to make sure that you come in at your best. There's no perfect answer to this, but the real key is just making sure that your focus isn't just doing the most you can, and your focus is actually doing the right shit to lead you to being the best that you can be on the night that it matters. So, guys, that's it. That's all. I appreciate you all tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you on the next episode. And for everybody watching again, because I know the Facebook, YouTube, and X streams were muted for the first couple of minutes that I was on, so my apologies for that. For everybody watching again, we are running a 8-week fight ready program. And the 8-week fight ready program, we're going to be digging into strength work, power, explosive power, conditioning work, everything that you need to make sure that you are 100% ready for your next fight. So if you are interested in taking your training to a new level, if you are interested to actually understand the strength and conditioning work you're doing and understanding how it's benefiting you, DM me Fight Ready, and we'll talk about the details and we'll talk about how we can help. So I appreciate you all for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you on the next one.